Hello, my chess friends. Welcome to a new episode for our novices and intermediates chess friends concerning the middle game. Middle game concepts. Today we are going to look at the outpost in the middle game. What does an outpost mean, first thing first? Which is a very happy square on which you can place a knight which will not be challenged. Okay? It could be a bishop, but a knight is very likely, and it's just absolutely beautiful, and it can't be challenged by a pawn. If you look at the current position we are having right now, the d5 square will not be able to be challenged by any c or e pawn. Because the e pawn had already moved e5, so you don't have any problem attacking the square, and there is no c pawn because it's been traded already. Now, you would say, oh, of course, absolutely, I can go knight to d5 and it's very fine. Well, hold your horses, not just that quickly. Because, gotta pay a little bit of attention here. Would be absolutely miraculous to place the knight on d5 if it wasn't for the knight on f6. If you rush it, and if you play like bullet type of chess with knight d5 very quickly and overly confident, that's quite reckless. Knight f6 takes your guy, and even if you take the bishop, they're going to be taking you back, actually ending up with less material. I think you're not going to like this. So the wisest thing to do is get rid of the knight, challenging your knight on d5 first. So you're going to take this knight off the board. They will have to recover. And now you're going to play your knight from c3 over to d5, which will not be able to be attacked that easily. There is no light square bishop, you probably noticed. There is no light square bishop. Obviously, queen can't touch it. It's going to be very difficult for black to deal with this guy. Plus, the knight is super happy because he covers so many squares. So this is what we call, sorry, not the square here, but we're talking about those 8 squares. Let me just highlight them for all our friends now. And very powerful knight, incredibly problematic. And there is another idea. For instance, if black doesn't do nothing in regards of this bishop, like for instance, getting the bishop to e7, you might be able to take and give them double pawns, ruining the pawn structure defending the king. So that's another concept for you to keep in mind. If you can give your opponent double pawns, making it a mess of the pawn structure defending the king, do it. Next one, guys, let's have a look at this exercise here. Now, we would love to get the knight from f3 over to e5. That would be nice, isn't it? But wouldn't be even more perfect, excuse the formulation, I know it's not grammatically correct, but wouldn't it be even nicer to having knight e5 here? Would be, but this guy is here, so practically you're going to trade and it's a little bit uncertain. So can we find a way, perhaps, get rid of the bishop on d6, and then the knight will not be challenged by anything. No pawn, no bishop. Hey, if they want to give the rook for a knight, I think I'm more than happy. So what might be the way? You got it. We already got a battery here. Another concept. 2 pieces working together horizontally, vertically, diagonally. In our case, we got a bishop, bishop to b4. Challenge this guy, can't move away because you're going to take the rook. A rook is 5, remember, rook is 5 points, the bishop is 3. You don't want to do that, therefore very likely they're going to be taking your guy. And now you're going to take with the queen, and once you do so, e5 is completely exploitable for the white knight. So you can very confidently place the knight there, leave it there, and the position is definitely much better for white here. Again, winning an outpost, it's an awesome job, but it's not like a guarantee you are going to win the game no matter what. Oh, but definitely it's important you're building up a better position every single move, improving the position, working towards that. Now, there's another idea here, and it happens to many chess players. Should I take? Shouldn't I take? So let's look. Do you have a very strong reason to take this guy? Do you really want to take this knight here? They will be taking you back. You're creating a passer, which might be potentially supported by the knight and by the rook. Very difficult, and I don't think it's very appealing. I don't want to do that. Instead, wouldn't it be absolutely great to get the knight to actually be placed very nicely on d3? Because who's going to challenge it on d3? There is no light square bishop, so the knight can very nicely be driven e5 via e5, and then nicely on d3, targeting a bunch of very important squares here in your opponent half territory. So this is great. play knight e5, no reason to trade. Don't trade if you don't have a very strong reason. And now you can't be you can't be stopped from playing knight to d3. Excellent outpost, okay? A square which is not challenged by a pawn. Now let's go with another quick exercise here. Can you perhaps take advantage of your opponent's last move, which instead of just developing and going for castling, they preferred to play bishop from c8 to b7, which is practically a very bad move. In itself is a very bad move because it's the knight and hits its own pawn. Disaster. This bishop is just a pawn. It really doesn't do nothing. Painful to play like this. You've got to understand, it's important to get your pieces off the back rank, but not like this. You don't do nothing. You should have just taken that guy. Knight e7 and then castle. They haven't. How do you punish them? Remember, black needs now 2 tempi to castle the king. Would you be able to punish them? Of course you would, and you should, by playing nicely knight b5. And if you ask why, remember, we talked about outpost, a square defended by a pawn which can be challenged by a pawn of your opponents. So, knight to b5, because now, whatever black chooses to play, knight e7 would be a little bit too late. I'm afraid it's a tad too late, because then you're gonna, by the way, that would be also a blunder. So very, very, very painful for them. And whatever they play, you are going to seriously disrupt black king's safety by placing knight from b5 over to d6. And oh boy, you're gonna be placing the knight here, checking the king. By the way, they will have to move the king out of check, and by doing so, obviously they won't be able to castle for the remainder of the game. So what's not to like about this position? Again, not a guarantee you're going to be winning, but given these ideas, you should be doing better than your opponent in this position. Very important. Every single time, guys, try to take advantage and speculate your opponent's mistakes, punishing them. If you spot an outpost, remove the attacker, bang, place your piece. Should we do another exercise perhaps, and then we'll wrap it up, guys? Maybe I'm going to see you on my Twitch live stream, or maybe YouTube or Nama. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way, and maybe follow me on Twitch as well. Okay, next one here. Would you be able to identify an outpost? It's blacks to play. How would you play? Why? To what avail? To what purpose? What do you want to do? Well, if you look at this position here, you might be able to spot there is an interesting square you may want to take advantage of. That's this square here on e3. How do we get there? Well, we got a knight on f6, very, very eager to actually arrive there. How do you get there? Well, you just need 2 tempos to get there. That would be knight g4 and then knight e3. Hitting the rook, hitting the bishop, threatening c2. What's not to like about that outpost? So I hope you guys now getting familiar more and more with the concept of outpost. Okay, very important to play this kind of ideas because they really, really add a lot of strength to your game, and you're causing a lot of problems for your opponents. Shall we try one more time, ladies and gents? One more time. Black knight played to d5, challenging your knight on c3. Should you exchange? Should you take the black knight? Is it really the stuff we want to play? Can you perhaps think of something else than trading off that knight? And that's something that happens a lot for beginners. A lot. They just go with the trade. Your opponents play, oh, I'm going to take it. Oh, I'm going to take that. You don't have to take. Just look for better ideas. And a better idea would be, you got it. Probably you've seen it already. This knight on c3 wants to be on d6. Okay? How do you get there? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You got yourself an e4 waiting for you. And then boom. Absolutely, absolutely smashing. Absolutely smashing. It's just brilliant. Can't be stopped. Knight d6 with a very powerful outpost attacking everything in the black's formation, and I really, really like that knight to d6 idea. See in your games, guys, see in your practical games, if you can spot the outpost for your knights would be absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If you can place your knights on the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th rank like this, in this fashion, gonna be very problematic for your opponent to deal with. Okay? Thanks very much for watching the video, guys. Drop any comments, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitch as well if you want to. Tomorrow going to be Magnus Carlsen versus Prague for the FIDE World Cup. So now it's 21st of August. I think I'm going to upload the video just in a couple of minutes after the processing of the video takes an end. So thanks again and see you incredibly shortly. Stick around, please. Thank you.